Now inside this box, I have what I believe is currently the most comfortable football boot on the market. It's also a football boot that I think a lot of people would look at and say to themselves, I would never buy those in a million years. And that's totally fair. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions and preferences, but at the same time, I really do feel like the modern football boot consumer has been way more influenced by marketing and big brands in general than even they realize. Even if you're somebody that doesn't believe in imaginary ankle support or boots by position or ACC being the best technology ever created, you still might be more influenced than you realize, and I want to explain why that is in today's video as we go over the details of this football boot right here, the Mizuno Morelia Zero Japan. Yes, it looks to be very old school, something that a lot of the younger generation, I'm sure, would never be interested in, and it's also expensive. $290 is the retail price, which I think is a little bit steep for what it is, but at the same time, the quality is arguably the best of any football boot out there right now. But from a fit and comfort standpoint, nothing currently available does it better. We as consumers have come to expect, or at least have been led to believe, that what's important in a modern day football boot is tech and innovation. And I love seeing that kind of stuff, don't get me wrong. But from a comfort standpoint, while there are plenty of modern football boots that are very comfortable, none of them are as comfortable as this boot right here, which is what I want to focus on in today's video. So hear me out for a second. Even if this isn't a football boot that would normally interest you, I'm going to point out a few things in this video that at the very least will help you in your next football boot purchase. So if you want to learn more about these, we're going to go over all the tech details, which there's more tech here than I think a lot of people would realize because it does have a very old school look to it. And we'll of course also take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you want to learn more, please stick around, watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair of these very cool football boots, at least in my opinion, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $290 retail price. Also, if you guys do end up enjoying this video, please don't forget to support it with a like. And if you are new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on weekly content on everything football boots, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As far as extras go, because I do believe this is somewhat of a limited variant of the classic Morelia, it does come in a special box that you can see is matte black with this kind of red chrome Runbird and Mizuno logo there on the lid. And then on the inside, all you get as an extra is a boot bag, which doesn't actually have strings to wear it as a backpack. It's just to seal up the top. But you can see it's a pretty standard black bag with the same logo you find on the box. Nothing on the back. It's an okay string bag. It gets a 4 out of 9.7. As for the boots themselves, if you've never seen a pair of Mizuno Morelias before, you're probably thinking to yourself that these look a lot like the classic Copa Mundial from Adidas, and you'd be right. From a styling standpoint, they are similar in a lot of ways, but that's about all they have in common. Yes, they're both kangaroo leather football boots with an old school look, but these actually incorporate a lot more modern features that you wouldn't expect based on how they look. But we're going to start with the leather upper itself. This is a made in Japan Mizuno product, and the upper is entirely made out of kangaroo leather, tongue included. And this features a lot of the changes from the latest variation of the Morelia, where they seem to have thinned out the leather ever so slightly, and it has a slightly more airy sensation to it. So it's that little bit softer and that little bit more flexible than even past variations of the Morelia, which were already top notch in terms of quality. And honestly, I am thoroughly impressed with how these feel. This is easily the nicest leather football boot of 2020 by quite a large margin, and the fact that the entire upper is made out of leather is something that I really appreciate. If you're a fan of leather football boots, this is the gold standard in terms of what's currently available, and really just one of the nicest leather football boots I have ever had on my feet. The touch is fantastic. The comfort is fantastic as well. I like the little design elements of this model where they added this little overlay of leather to kind of reinforce the lace holes, add a little bit of structure as well. The actual Runbird Mizuno logo is made out of a synthetic material to add some structure through the midfoot as well, prevent it from overstretching. And then this being the Morelia Zero, it does feature a little bit of a different design to the tongue where it has this kind of extension piece. It's not really designed to fold over, but I guess you could do it. It's almost more like a classic Copa in that regard. I don't hate this element. They did it mainly for the sake of aesthetics, but it is there nonetheless, and I don't really feel gets in the way because of how soft the leather tongue is. It kind of just forms around the front part of your shin/ankle, and you stop noticing it entirely. Now here's where I'm going to point something out that I don't think a lot of people realize. What makes a football boot comfortable is ultimately the way that it fits. You want a football boot to match the shape of your foot as closely as possible. In an ideal situation, you want it to wrap your foot perfectly. That is effectively what a custom football boot would be. If you became a pro footballer today, pick your brand regardless of what it is, something that would be most exciting for you is to have a football boot that is perfectly shaped to your foot. Now, when you talk about the majority of modern football boots, they are made out of plastics, basically synthetic or textile, and a lot of them are reinforced for the sake of responsiveness. If you add structure to the upper as you push off on that sidewall of the football boot, it's not going to have as much give to it. It's going to have a more responsive feel. Look at the Nike Mercurial series. It's the most popular specifically for that reason. They have this truly responsive feel to them, and this is not a knock on Mercurials, but a Mercurial, the one criticism you could have of it is they don't fit everybody, and the reason that is because the Mercurial is very much a predetermined shape with a structured upper. So we've all heard, I guess, the way people would describe a comfortable pair of football boots is they've molded to your feet. And modern football boots, especially now with textiles and plastics, they don't do a lot of molding. They just have this predetermined shape, and it's up to you as a consumer to find the football boot that most closely matches the shape of your feet. If you're lucky, you can find one that fits close to perfect, but more often than not, that's not going to be possible. Where a football boot like this, that's entirely made out of a natural leather material, one of the benefits of leather and the reason why it became a premier material in the football boot industry going back 20 years is because it was soft, it was flexible, and it molded to the shape of your feet as you wore them in. You were truly able to get that one-to-one custom fit because instead of the boot having a predetermined shape and having your foot kind of fit into that shape, you have a football boot with a pretty basic shape where it's going to form around your foot over time to truly give you that custom fit, which in turn leads to proper fit and of course the best possible comfort. So think about it for a second. Is leather really an obsolete material for a football boot, or is it a material for a football boot that is more expensive and ultimately more difficult to market? You be the judge. The focus of the Morelia is definitely simplicity. They let the materials do the talking, and like I said, the quality of this kangaroo leather is top notch. Of course, the boot features a central lacing system, which is kind of a signature of anything more traditional, but what I do like that they've added here is this extra little lace hole that I'm currently not using, but if you wanted to have that little bit of extra lockdown and tightness kind of through the midfoot, top of the ankle area, you can do that by utilizing that extra lace hole position. That's something I just wish more brands would offer in general. As we move towards the rear, you will of course find a standard low cut construction, which from a comfort standpoint, I still feel is the best way of doing things. I wish the back would be a little bit lower than it is, but it's not a big deal nonetheless. There is an internal plastic heel counter, so fairly traditional in terms of that construction method. And then internally, the heel liner is this really soft suede material. It's very smooth, and it does that little bit of gripping to your socks, which really allows for a good amount of lockdown in the heel. Again, despite being kind of more traditional in terms of its mostly leather construction. Then the insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It's been changed up from past variations of the Morelia as well. Instead of that gritty finish on the surface, it's made out of this really soft synthetic microfiber suede material, super high quality. Obviously has the Runbird and Made in Japan logos right there. And then it's made from a single layer of this black foam with some really nice details with the Morelia logo. None of that really matters, but the quality of this insole is above average for sure. And then moving to the sole plate and stud pattern, obviously it has a very old school look, but despite its appearance, it uses modern plastic, which means that this boot is a lot lighter than you would expect it to be, which we'll take a look at in just a second. The sole plate is really flexible. There's not a ton of added stiffness to it. It's got decent stiffness through the midfoot and heel as you would want, but the forefoot is left quite flexible, which I think makes sense given that the upper is so soft. You want the boots to have a natural sensation as your foot flexes, and you definitely get that here. And then the stud pattern, as you can see, is also very traditional, all conical studs, fairly large in profile, so they're not super aggressive in terms of how they dig into the ground, but it's very stable. And if you do play on harder ground, or even if you want to use these on artificial grass, this is a very, very good stud pattern. Again, just not the most aggressive thing in the world, but everyone has their preferences there. And then again, in terms of build quality, you'll notice plenty of rivets, which is kind of a signature of the Mizuno Morelia. 3 here at the toe, and then you're going to find 3 in the heel area, all really strengthening the bond in terms of the attachment between the sole plate and the upper. So yes, these are expensive, but from a build quality and durability perspective, you will have a hard time finding something better than these. Now, I don't want to say that you've been lied to, but I think it's fair to say that big brands have definitely implied that leather as a material for a football boot is heavier than modern day synthetics and knits. And that can be true in certain cases, and it's also true that leather as a material will absorb more moisture than a lot of synthetics will, although modern day leather with new treatment processes that they have really don't absorb that much moisture at all. Either way, I want to point out how the weight of this boot compares to one of the most popular speed boots on the market right now, the Adidas X19.1, because I think you'd expect these to be significantly heavier when in reality, these are very close to each other. So I'm going to weigh them both for you today in real time. We'll start with the Morelia Zero, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.7 ounces, the equivalent of 219 grams. We'll change the scale back to ounces, and we'll throw on the X19.1, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.4 ounces, the equivalent of 209 grams. So, for comparison's sake, between these two boots, there is a weight difference of 10 grams, which is effectively nothing. Yes, the boots feel different on feet, but from a pure weight perspective, while this has a very old school look, it is as light as one of the most popular speed boots currently on the market. So as you can probably see, I have swapped out the stock laces, which are black in color. They match the boots, but Mizuno has these weird, they're almost cotton laces, and they end up not wearing all that well. They actually absorb water for whatever reason. I've changed them for some wide black reflective SR4U replacement laces, which are a little bit slimmer. They're still black in color, kind of giving the boot an old school look. I was contemplating red ones, but I decided to stick with black. Plus they add the little reflective bits, which is just a cool extra detail. It's a great way of changing up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way. If you're interested in some laces for yourself, the website to visit is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, from a comfort standpoint, the Morelia Zero is shocking. There truly isn't another football boot that money can buy right now that feels as good as these do on feet. The leather is so soft, it's so flexible. The shape of the boot, they got just right. It has just the right amount of volume, just the right amount of width to where the boots feel snug, but they're not squeezing or suffocating your feet. And then as you wear them in, they stretch and form to the exact shape of your foot. The central lacing system runs nice and deep, so you're able to get tension and tightness in all the right spots. The lockdown in the heel is fantastic. The flexibility of the outsole is phenomenal. They got everything right. It is the purest feeling pair of football boots currently on the market. Nothing even really comes close. As far as width is concerned, these are going to fit pretty much everybody. The shape of the boot is not so wide or so narrow that it's going to kind of alienate certain foot types. Again, they're leather. They're made to have a shape that's going to fit most people, and then as you wear them in, that's when the customization comes into play from the high quality leather that these are made out of. So these will fit legitimately everybody after a little bit of break-in time. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, if you've watched the video up until this point, I think it's fairly obvious that I very strongly recommend the Morelia Zero. I think that if you're somebody that really values comfort over anything else in a pair of football boots, even if you think what you're wearing is comfortable right now, Trust me when I say that these are that much more comfortable. I am so impressed with that aspect of this boot. But really what I love so much about this product is the purity of it. It is the best of the best in terms of leather. It's so simple in terms of its overall design. It's lighter than you would expect it to be. And it's just basically everything you need from a football boot and nothing that you don't, which we talk a lot about gimmicks in the modern football boot industry, and this is a football boot, aside from maybe this unnecessary extension piece on the tongue that's there for the sake of looks, it is free of any sort of gimmicks, and it's expensive. I understand that at $290, and this is still never going to be a football boot that's absolutely for everybody. If you're a fan of Mercurials and the responsiveness and the extra traction that they provide, and you don't mind that squeezing your foot sensation, then stick with Mercurials. This probably isn't for you. But if you're somebody that always seems to be struggling with comfort in your football boots, give something like this a try, and I'm sure you'll be pleasantly surprised at not only what you were missing out on, but how comfortable a football boot can actually be. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below the normal $290 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.